All right. I am Ana Oscoz, and I teach in the Modern Languages and Linguistics department. What we are doing for the winter is slightly different from what other people are doing. Because you are teaching your own classes in the Spanish area, we are going to teach 6 sections, 2 for Spanish 201, 2 for Spanish 102, and 2 for Spanish 101. And I am in charge of developing all of them with the help of some of the instructors. So I had a nice PowerPoint, short but nice, but I cannot show it to you, so I'm going to talk through it and then show you what we are doing. Our courses are already sort of hybrid. It's a 4-credit course, and one of them is already hybrid. We have online discussions and synchronous online discussions in which students talk, use the language, they communicate in Spanish. And we also have discussion boards that are constructed in English, and they are used for culture. So the students talk about different topics like the family, or the food, or what implies traveling to other countries, but from an historical, economic, and social perspective. And this semester, for the winter semester, we had to go one step further. And I didn't really know how to go about it since we already had part of it online. But I met with John and with Bob several times, and we came up with a nice solution. So what we are doing is there are 4, I'm using different tools for the hybrid course. As I said, we have the online chats for the communication. We have the discussion boards for the culture component. We are going to use wikis for writing, and I will talk about that next class, and I have to thank Robin for the wikis because she's the person who introduced me to wikis. And then the other part which I'm going to talk about is how we are going to present the grammar. And to teach the grammar is not only just to expose and give them some information, we also want the students to think about it and have some exercises that help them with the input, how they get it, and some exercises in which they have to produce what we are teaching them. So I'm going to show you one example of one unit I have created for teaching the hour. So here I have the 5 chapters we are going to teach in 101, and I'm going to chapter 3. We are going to have online la hora and verb gustar, and I'm going to show you la hora. So for la hora, I have created 4 different activities. And I have used a combination of PowerPoint and Jing together to create the classes, to create the information. And then here we have an exercise that we have taken from the book we are using right now, Impresiones. We don't have to make everything new. And here we have another presentation of 2 types of questions that we ask and we have to answer when we talk about time. And then some questions that we are asking the students in voice board. So we are actually making use of different tools that are available to us to integrate different components in the class. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the 2 videos. And here you are going to see how my self-esteem is not too bad, because actually you are going to hear me speaking in English. And my students have to do that. Okay, maybe you learn something.
In this lesson, you're going to learn how to express time in Spanish. Look at the following clock.
Of course, this has been a learning process.
Son las 10. Look at the following clock. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 5. In Spanish, when we want to express what time it is, we say son las 2, son las 5, or son las 8. When we want to emphasize that it's 2 o'clock sharp, 5 o'clock on the dot, or exactly 8 o'clock, we use the expression en punto. Son las 2 en punto, son las 5 en punto, son las 8 en punto. In addition to expressing that is 2 o'clock.
Okay, I think that's enough. But that's how I created it. So it's been a learning process. It's been very interesting how to create the PowerPoint in such a way that everything is coming at one point is coming after the other one, and how to match it with the voice. But once I have passed the learning curve, I hope it's going to be fast and quick and easy. So after they go through the explanation of La Hora, we are asking the students to go to the website of Impresiones, the book we are using. And we are asking them to complete 3 exercises. The first one is vocabulary and context of vocabulary. And they are going to do some exercises that are more directed to the input. They are still receiving information. One of the things that happens when we are teaching languages is that we teach something and we want our students to produce right away. And it doesn't work. We need to give them a lot of input and time so they can really absorb what we are teaching them and what they are learning. So in these exercises is sort of input exercises in this one and this one too. So let me show you the page, La Hora. So they go to Impresiones, hopefully. Here it is. And I have already directed them to the chapter I wanted to go, chapter 3, and they have to go vocabulary and contexto, and they are going to complete this exercise. So they do this, blah, 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 paso uno, paso dos, da-da-da-da-da. And then they can submit, they have to submit the answers because we want to make sure they are doing them. So they submit the answers for grading. Of course, all of them are wrong. I didn't do any. And we give them the chance to send us the information. They can either send it to themselves, to us, to the TA, or to someone else. We don't want the students to fill the instructor's email. So what we are going to do is going to ask them to send information to themselves, print them out, and bring them to us. And this is just a practical matter. So let me go back here. Here. So they can go to the audio program, and they have to complete this exercise, which I'm not going to open. But it's a listening exercise. The students have to complete it, and again, they submit it to themselves or to the instructor. All right. The second exercise, I actually tried to have everything in the same video, but it ended up being too long. The clip of La Hora is actually 5 minutes long, something I did not expect. And this one is shorter, and I'm focusing only on a couple of questions that we use in Spanish.
You learn how to express time. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to ask a few questions about time and how to answer them. The first question is preceded by the word ¿qué? ¿Qué hora es? The second type of questions are preceded by the words ¿a qué? For example, ¿a qué hora es la clase de español? These two questions might seem very similar, but they are very different in purpose. When we ask ¿qué hora es?, we are asking what time it is at this precise moment. For example,
Okay. And I'm going to move to the very end because here, so I showed them everything. But at the end, I'm also telling them what I want them to do for homework.
In Documentos capítulo 3, La Hora, you have seen the video de La Hora. You have also completed actividades de la página de Impresiones.
That's what they did before.
Now, you have just watched the video de las dos preguntas. And now, you are going to answer the questions in the voice board.
And I did the same thing with the first video. At the end of the explanation, I told them, those are the exercises you have to do. So in this way, we are actually telling the students, it's not enough to watch the video. Those are the following steps that you need to complete in order to be able to talk about the time and to express time. So once they do this exercise, they listen to this video, they go to Preguntas sobre la hora in voice board, and I ask them a few questions. And since this is only the third chapter, they don't really know that much Spanish, so the questions are very simple at this moment, but they will increase in difficulty as long as we go. And this is in the same way that the other questions were more about input, about more them recognizing and listening time and recognizing them. In this case, we are actually asking the students to produce.
¿Qué hora es?
So now the students will have to answer using the reply. Son las 12. And then I would post it. So later on, I can go, as instructor, I can go and listen to all the questions, to all the answers the students have given me. So this is a good way for me to know what the students have done. And then it's very good for feedback because actually I can see what they are doing right or wrong and address it in the classroom. Instead of asking the students in class what time it is, what time it is, what time it is, they can do that at home. And that's what we have done so far. And the other components are the online chat and the discussion board, which are not presented here, but at the next presentation I will talk about how we are going to use the wikis. Because usually we have 2 writings every semester. What we are going to do is, instead of using the writing in the class, or writing in class, we are going to ask the students to complete the writing at home. So every day after we teach them the verb to start, or how to express time, or how to express actions in the present, we are going to tell them, well, go back to the wiki and tell us what you have done today. So they have to use verbs in the present, they have to use time, later on they will have to use adjectives, so they will increase and the writing will be much more complex every single day. And that's my presentation for today.
Questions?
Questions?
So the talking back into the computer, so you sitting there just clicking all day long, listen to this,
No, no.
so you can,
There is,
because it seems to me like if I went through the classroom and asked them
There
what
is a
time it
power-
was,
there
that
is
takes
a
like 2
power to-
seconds and this would take forever.
no. You know, that was one of the reasons why I didn't use voice board before. But now, what you can do is go here to continuously play. And you can listen to all the answers. So actually, yes, you are listening to all of them, one after the other one.
It's
But
pretty quick.
It's very quick and it's a good way to get a good idea of what is happening with the classroom. And it's a good idea of saying, okay, they are not saying this right, let me focus on this later on. Or let me practice this in the classroom, let me address this problem. It's much quicker.
I see a couple great benefits to it from back when I studied language. One, they don't have to be embarrassed in front of each other because that's inhibiting to students to try to lay it on real thick with the Spanish accent. 2, the visual learning that you're able to create when you're showing it and speaking at the same time is fantastic. Yeah.
Does this Jing thing work on an iPod? Because there's something called, what is it, iProf?
I can't remember if you can export it out to that or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it
iProf
does or
it
not.
with Keynote. You can talk
Yeah.
while you do your Keynote,
Yeah.
and then that goes right into iTunes. I'm just wondering if it'd be neat if that, so a lot of this video stuff I've been starting to think about with so many kids have iPods now.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they don't, it still works in iTunes, which everyone can have access
Yeah,
to.
that's something to look into.
I bet you it probably does. There's probably a way to export it.
All of these tools that well, actually not all of them, but Wimba is part of Blackboard. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a tool that you can use on there, and you can do audio announcements with it. You can use it for a lot of different things. So this is one component of it that, but there's a lot of other pieces to it as well. And the live classroom, which I think, who's gonna do the live, was it you were gonna do?
Andrea?
Somebody was gonna do live classroom, I think, as well, live sessions, online as well, and you can do that with some of the Wimba tools as well.
Something I recommend, and maybe you already do that, but is clean up your Blackboard course. For example, here under communication, we only have the ones we use. We use voice boards and email, maybe we would use front of group pages and discussion board, and we clean up the rest. It was messy. And the same thing with herramientas, we only have what our students need, and it's much better for them and for the instructors.
Yeah, you can kind of part of the course down a little bit, get rid of the junk you're not gonna
Yeah.
use.
And, yeah. You had a question there.
Yes, how long does it take you to set up one of those lessons in its entirety there?
This one took me a long time. It was the first time, and I had to learn how to use the PowerPoint to match with the G. And actually, what I had to do is duplicate a lot of the slides and add more takeaway information, pretty much. The first time that we tried, I had all these fancy things of, oh, something pops up and something pops up, and I just, I was like, I cannot do any of this. So that's how I had to restart from the beginning. I actually did the one about the hour last night, and it didn't take me that long, and now that I know how to use it, I think it's going to be quicker. The difficult part is that I was trying to be perfect, but now I have learned I don't have to be perfect. Because I was like, oh, I did this wrong. I started again. Oh, I said this wrong. I started again. I'm like, I don't care. And at one point, I have an email that popped up like, ping. And I was like, I don't care. And then I was talking, and it was nearly the end of this presentation, the last one, and I had PowerPoint saving. So it shows like saving PowerPoint on the screen, and I thought, I don't care. Students might think it's their own.
Yeah, it kind of makes it a little more
Computer.
impersonal.
And that's it. Well, I have fixed that. I changed the preferences to save less often. But I just realized it doesn't have to be perfect. I wrote the script. I did everything, and then you could hear me changing pages, going from one page to another one, and I thought, I just need to talk through it and know what I want to say. But if it's not the same thing I have written down, it's okay.
So you can keep up from week to week.
Yes, and actually what I'm trying to do, I'm working with other instructors, and what we are trying to do is test what we are doing with the students to see if it works or what has to be changed. And we still have time to do it.
Okay, thank you very much.